You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
It's Oh Behave with Arden Moore, the show that teaches you how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Join Arden as she travels coast to coast to help millions better understand why cats and dogs do what they do. Get the latest scoop on famous faces, their perfectly pampered pets, and who's walking who in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails. Garner great pet tips and have a doggone fur-flying fun time. So get ready for the pause and applause as we unleash your Oh Behave host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Fashion is going to the dogs in a most creative way. You know, those buckle collars and nylon leashes, they're so, well, pet passé. Your cool canine deserves a mutt makeover and the right to strut in style. And here to share some new furry fashion trends that everyone will be barking about is the fine fashionista, founder of Bark and Swagger. Please give pause and applause to Jody Miller-Young. Hey, welcome to the show, Jody.
Thank you so much, Arden. Happy to be here.
All right, now Jody's going to raise the woof on doggy fashion with her canine pal, Sophie. And you guys know the drill. Sit and stay. We'll be right back after we take this commercial break.
Time for a pause. 4 furry ones, actually. Sit and stay. Oh Behave will be right back.
It's designerpetsweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit designerpetsweaters.com to order your 4-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. designerpetsweaters.com.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Oh Behave is back with more tail-wagging ways to achieve harmony in the household with your pets. Now, back to your fetching host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. I am doubly delighted to have our special guest, Jody Miller-Young, on today's show. First, I admire that Jody is following her true passions, which are pet fashion and savvy trend-setting pet blogging. Secondly, she is about to embark, yes, I said bark, on a new adventure. She will be the newest host on Pet Life Radio, and so we're delighted about that. So, and finally, I love your motto on your Bark and Swagger company site. Fierce fashion for Fido. Woo! Jody Miller-Young is in the house.
Well, they deserve it, don't they?
They do. And I know you've got a cutie pie named Sophie, which has a kind of an unusual canine breed, a Portuguese Podenga?
Yes, Podengo. Portuguese Podengo Pequeño.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a potato chip.
It sounds like, can you say this 5 times fast and not flub it type of thing. They are a primitive breed. The short-haired have been around the smooth coat have been around for 2,000 to 5,000 years. They're rabbit hunters. And they're hounds. Mine, little Sophie, is a wired hair, and she looks like a scruffy terrier mutt. But she's a hound. And they're wonderful, wonderful little dogs. They're very lively and very sweet, and we love her. We're going to keep her.
So maybe at the next Westminster show, Sophie will be behind a microphone and probably bribing the judges so that her breed will win. What do you think?
Well, she loves to bark, so I don't doubt it.
Wow.
She's a great talker.
Well, she'll have her own show soon. Give us a quick little bio on Sophie, how old she is, and favorite treats, favorite outfits. What's the 411 on Sophie?
Little Sophie is 4 years old. She turned 4 on Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, yes. You had me. I'm an ex-sports writer. You just had me at touchdown.
Great. She is a little treat hound. She loves them all, but she gravitates, she was born in England, even though she's a Portuguese Podengo, and she's a meat and cheese girl. You can take the dog out of England, but I don't think you can take England out of the dog.
And hide those little cheese under the shepherd's pie too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So she loves her meat and cheese, and any variation is great with her. And she's a New York City girl. Does she love fashion? This may come as a surprise because her mommy is a fashion designer as well as a reporter on fashion. She hates to wear clothes.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. How did that happen?
So how does she show you her disdain for?
She runs away when I pull out the coat. It could be minus 10 degrees, as it was in New York City, a couple of times this winter. And she will run away when I pull out the coat. So we have to put it on her. She doesn't have thick fur. She's only 11-something pounds. Yeah. And she gets cold. So for necessity, we do put coats on her, and I designed a whole collection of coats for my Couture by Sophie brand. That's why I actually started in pet fashion. But she does not love to wear clothes, so her mommy is lamenting over that.
Well, it's okay. It's okay. It's kind of funny because, my feeling is this. We can't force a pet into booties or a coat or a fashionable collar. And I do salute you that you are understanding Sophie's needs because nobody wants to have something put on them that they don't like to wear.
Exactly. And I feel the same way. So we pick our spots, when she has to. We do it for health, to keep warm, but otherwise she goes au naturel.
Okay. Well, don't you go au naturel because you'll get arrested.
That's true. But I am looking for doggy models for my next Couture by Sophie fashion, so I'm putting it out there.
So let's talk a little bit about the Bark and Swagger site. I love your fierce fashion for Fido. Everybody, after the show, please go to barkandswagger.com. And you are quite the blogger. You're a blogger with meat. You've got good content. I'm an ex-newspaper reporter. I'm like, yes, I like it. So
Thank you. I take that as a big compliment. Yeah.
All right. If somebody's listening, how can they how can they turn their dog into a canine model?
Well, the dog has to, I think, first be predisposed. They have to like to be a little bit showy.
Okay.
Yeah. And then in terms of what you dress your dog in, I always feel that how you dress your dog is an extension of your own personal style.
Okay.
There needs to be, I think, some synergy, and then it sort of all makes sense visually. Mm-hmm. So the things that you love are probably what you're going to be gravitating towards when you see dog fashion in a store or online. And the only thing that I would stay away from is two things. One, things that are uncomfortable for your pet, as we discussed.
Right.
And two, if you're going to rock a trend, and, a trend that just won't go away for humans and for pets, is animal prints, especially leopard. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do something like that, pick your spots. Don't overkill. Don't do the coat and the barrette and the booties, because then, like with us, it's a bit like too much of a good thing isn't good anymore.
Right.
So I would just pick my spots. But other than that, extend your personal style to your dog and have fun with it.
Your background, I was impressed. You've done a lot in the world of entertainment, in public relations, and you've always had an eye for fashion. But this is confession time, Jody Miller-Young.
Uh-oh.
You were no Betsy Ross to begin with, were you? I understand you didn't even know how to sew.
No, not at all. No. If I could fix a button, that would be big for me.
Ooh, so tell me your transformation.
Well, after 30 years as a publicist in the entertainment business, I was fortunate enough to be able to have a second act career-wise, and I retired my company and ended up going back to school for human fashion, women's fashion, with the idea that I was going to do a small line for upscale custom wear for women. And I needed to learn how to sew.
That would be kind of a
I found a school. Yeah, just details. I found a school in my neighborhood and took a course and was doing some practice pieces. And one of the practice pieces I did was a coat for Sophie. And we got stopped on the street. people, all kinds of people would stop us and say, I love that coat. Where did you get it? And I said, I made it. Oh my God, it's so good. And so I made a second one for practice, and the same thing happened. And
what was
one
the
day
first
I had
coat?
an aha moment.
What was the coat? Tell us the details, what it looked that made people, knee-jerk and look at you and go, what? What did it look like? Do you remember the first coat,
It was
Sophie?
I do. It was a fun fabric. It was a boiled wool tie-dye fabric that had very sort of muted colors like rose and sage and camel. And Sophie is fawn and white, and the colors were fantastic on her. And it was, sort of a little sort of collared coat that fit her perfectly, obviously, because it was custom. And it had decorative special buttons on it. And it just made a statement when she walked down the street, and people noticed.
Does she still wear that coat, the little clothes hound?
She absolutely does. We still have it, and she still wears it in the winter.
So you were smart. As a publicist in entertainment, you're always having to look for trends and see what's going on. You paid attention to the comments on the street, and that's your aha moment, you were going to say.
Absolutely. At first I was set on women's, and then I thought, I love animals. I've been a major animal lover my whole life. I love fashion, obviously, and I love giving back, and I wanted that to be a component of whatever I did next. So why not put it all together and do something that I'm passionate about across the board? And Couture by Sophie was born.
And you do give back, and let's talk about the type of materials you use. You're not, using real lions or tiger pelts.
No.
And you do help groups like the American Humane Association.
That's right. The materials I use on Couture by Sophie are cruelty-free. They're all very upscale, so you know that you're getting quality, but no animals were harmed. And the American Humane Association is my partner charity. I reached out to them in the early days. It was great timing for us both. I love them. I think the work that they do is incredible, and I give a percentage of everything I sell on Couture by Sophie to them.
No, that's really wonderful, and I'm glad to hear that. So how did you go from Couture by Sophie into Bark and Swagger? So what's the difference? Because we want people to know about both.
Okay. Couture by Sophie is my luxury dog fashion brand, things that I design and make and offer to you, the public.
Okay.
Bark and Swagger was an outgrowth of that because being in the pet fashion space, I saw so many things that I loved and really was introduced to so many amazing, amazing designers. I wanted to share that. And coming from the publicity world, I was already writing. That's part of my DNA.
Right.
And so it was an easy transition for me, and I've absolutely loved it.
No, you do a great job. Folks, we're speaking with Jody Miller-Young. She is the two-legged half of Couture by Sophie, the cutie Sophie. Woof, woof, is the other half. And then they also have Bark and Swagger. Is going to talk to Jody a little bit more into some fashion do's and don'ts and what's going on with her blog, because I love it. And you is a writer. You do a good job. You do a good.
Thank you.
Yeah. But we have to pay for this show. So everybody sit and stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a walk on the red carpet, of course. All Behave will be back in a flash right after these messages.
Hi, I'm Dana Humphrey, the founder of Whitegate PR. We have been specializing in PR and marketing in the pet industry for over 10 years. If you have a pet product or service you would like to promote, give us a call. We can help create awareness for your brand on TV, radio, magazines, newspapers, and blogs. Feel free to reach me directly at 619-414-9307 or learn more on our website at whitegatepr.com or follow us on Facebook.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
This is Paul Schaefer from The Late Show with David Letterman.
And his daughter, Victoria Schaefer.
And you are listening to Arden Moore on the O Behave Show
On Pet Life Radio.
Please tune in.
We're back from the lot. Just checked the paper and we had a record showing at the box. The letterbox, that is. Now back to O Behave. Here's Arden.
Welcome back to the O Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. I'm having a great time. A great time with Jody Miller-Young. She is the founder of Bark and Swagger. She was a gal who was much like me, couldn't even put on a button, and now she's making the kinds of coats that you put on your pet that make people go, ooh, ah, I love it. Well, Jody, I still challenge myself just putting a button on, so you're light years ahead of me. But let's talk a little bit about some of the product reviews you do on Bark and Swagger and some of your missions to better the lives of pets on this planet.
Great. On Bark and Swagger, I pretty much cover everything but food and treats for dogs. While fashion is the core, and I do a lot on highlighting amazing designers and pieces on trends for that particular season, I also love to do interviews with experts in their fields who I think have really interesting things to share for my readers.
Okay.
So it could be anything from dognition, which are exercises you do with your dog to determine what kind of personality type they are.
What do you mean by that? Yeah.
Okay, Dognition is, they've created 9 different personality types. It was started by 2 scientists who did experiments on determining how best to understand what motivates your dog, what kind of personality type they are, how that impacts upon training, and also how that impacts upon maybe getting rid of certain breed-specific legislation issues that we have with dogs like pit bulls and others. So it's a wonderful, wonderful cause, but it's also incredibly interesting. And we tested it on Sophie. Sophie's personality turned out to be a Renaissance dog. So she's good at a little bit of everything.
So I'm really curious about this, determining the personalities of dogs. And you just said that Sophie's a Renaissance dog, which I love that. Good with everything. What are a couple other examples?
They have mavericks, stargazers, believe it or not, socialites, aces, and every one has specific characteristics that cause your dog to relate to its world in a different way. It's really fascinating.
I want to know, what the heck is a stargazer? Is that an ADD dog? You know, like, I can't focus.
Well, you know what? Send people to Bark and Swagger and they can read and find out.
Nice answer. Jody Miller-Young is in the house. And you know
I'm
what?
not a publicist for nothing.
That's right. But I'm also publicizing on the air that you are going to be a new host on Pet Life Radio, and we welcome, I know you're going to debut soon. Have you come up with a name yet for your show?
I know I'm overthinking this, Arden. The front runner right now is Pure Fashion. I'm trying to think of something really catchy, so I'm going to live with that.
Bark and Swagger?
Bark and Swagger, I mean, it's great because it brands my site, which is fantastic, but does it tell people that it's a fashion show?
Well, you could do Bark and Swagger with pet fashion host Jody Miller-Young. I mean, seriously. Mark's writing something down. He's got an idea. He's creative.
We'll be taking suggestions, Mark.
He says...
I've got a list of them. I'm telling you, I'm overthinking this.
All right, he says the swagger part says fashion to him. So Bark and Swagger, I mean, seriously, I would be like...
That's the best bet because I get to brand my site and brand my name.
Yeah. I mean, when we came up with the name Oh Behave, I was going to call it my show, I think it was Bipetual. It was something stupid. And I'm thinking, oh my God, everybody's going to think I'm having sex with dogs and cats. So,
that could be a problem.
yeah, I'd be arrested. So, we just kept it simple because I'm more an expert on behavior and I don't really behave. So actually, Mark and I brainstormed it. We kept it simple. And I think you really need
love
to
it.
drag. So let's go with, I like Bark and Swagger. And you've got the little with the paw. All right, so Mark, I know.
Thank you. You guys have been very helpful.
All right, so wait a minute, drum roll, everybody. We are now officially first one with the exclusive. We have Jody Miller-Young on the air. She's going to be launching the newest show on Pet Life Radio. And Jody, for our 1 million+ listeners on Oh Behave, it's going to be called
Bark and Swagger with pet fashion host Jody Miller-Young.
You got it, girl.
Yay! One less thing I have to think about.
All right. So we need a few more fashion do's and don'ts. I really like the fact that you've got to know your pet and don't be pushing something on them. I also like the fact that it better fit. And, dogs are come in different designs, so one fit size does not fit all. And what's your take on the wonderful Velcro? Because I have a Husky Golden Retriever and a Terrier Poodle mix, and, some of that Velcro, pull on the fur.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad you asked that, because when I started Couture by Sophie, I was anti-Velcro because I wanted it to be a luxury line, and I just didn't want to deal with Velcro. But what I've since learned is there really is no other way that we as designers have come up with thus far to, unless you're going to do complete custom, totally bespoke, to allow for the different shapes that every dog has, just like us humans have. Some dogs are a little longer, some dogs are a little bigger in the chest, some dogs are a little wider in the neck, and you can have a 2-inch latitude by using Velcro and do it in a stylish way. There are different colors of Velcro that you can have access to, so it looks good, it matches. In terms of catching the fur, it's a terrible fallout. And Sophie has this wispy, long hair. So I just make extra sure to keep, sort of patting it down and pulling the coat around her so I don't catch those hairs. But until they find a better way or one of us, creates a better way where we can accommodate lots of different dogs, Velcro seems to be the way to go.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And we've got a few minutes left, and I really want to have you touch upon the whole idea of using non-toxic chalk to color your pet's fur temporarily. So what's up with that?
Okay. So some people call it extreme grooming.
Okay.
And I call it fashionable grooming.
Okay.
And I actually did a story on Bark and Swagger from an interview with celebrity groomer Jorge Bendersky about this very topic, because there are as many people as you find who are interested in doing something with their dog. You have the naysayers who think it's dog cruelty. Okay. So I can put to rest, because I weighed in with animal experts and some behaviorists and professional groomers. Dogs, as long as you're using healthy, and veterinarians, as long as you're using healthy ingredients that are non-toxic to the dog doesn't know if it's pink, orange, purple, or zebra striped. What it does know is if it's getting attention and it's a dog that likes to get attention,
like
then it's a positive thing, like a socialite, then it's a positive thing. If it's a dog that does not like to get a lot of attention, is shy or a little bit anxious, then you wouldn't want to have your pet extremely groomed and take it out there and, have it be ground zero for everybody pointing and oohing and eyeing and coming over. So it's an assessment that you make based on the personality of your dog. But my tip as sort of a fashion reporter is I would, like anything else in fashion, I would dabble. I wouldn't go crazy if you're talking about every day.
Not over the top.
Maybe not over the top. Maybe do a little color and, accent. Or in the summer, you want to do a little temporary tattoo, one little temporary tattoo, a cute little something. Don't go overboard.
So if you have camera hounds, they're the dogs that will tolerate that. They like the spotlight. And know your dog is a very important message that Jody Miller-Young is barking about, unleashing, if you will. Jody, I'm really delighted that you're going to be part of the Pet Life Radio family. Keep doing what you're doing. I want everybody to dash over to barkandswagger.com after the show. That will be the name of her new radio show. We just pressured her into that, but it's a natural fit. And I really thank you for being a guest on our show, and give a special healthy treat to Ms. Sophie from my dogs, Chipper and Cleo.
Oh, and Sophie says hi to Chipper and Cleo, and I am thrilled to be part of the family. And I'm a big fan of you and your show, Arden, so I'm going to be taking notes.
Uh-oh, scary. All right. And at this time,
in a good way.
Okay, good. I don't want to have to do puppy push-ups. Be a little harder. But I do want to also at this time thank my producer, Mark Winter. He makes this show and all the shows on Pet Life Radio Network just go great. We have millions of listeners from here to Singapore. We're also on iHeartRadio. So check us out. Go to Pet Life Radio and look for the debut of Bark and Swagger featuring pet fashionista Jody Miller-Young. And until next time, this is your flea-free host, Arden Moore, delivering just 2 words to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there. Oh, behave.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's Oh Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. Oh Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.